My next guest for today, Anil Rego of Right Horizons PMS, is joining in this morning to talk about what's happening in the mid-cap space. In fact, a lot of action seems to be in that mid-cap end of the market, given the fact that the index has hit a fresh record, even though the Nifty is just about a percent and a half away from that record level. Good morning, Anil. Good to have you on the show. Do you think that valuations have become expensive in the wake of the run-up that we have seen in the mid-cap stocks?
No, actually, one believes that mid and small caps have a long way to go. Okay, and let me step back and because we look at say market cycles, and typically you find there's a movement between large caps and mid caps in terms of relative performance. Right, so if you get the cycle right, then it's something that lasts for maybe 2-3 years, at a time. So in fact, if we went and look at the previous cycles, we saw, something like 5 peaks or so in about 15 years, right? So, and the last one was, we saw in 2017, then we saw again in 2021. Okay, so we think that we still have, some bit of way to go, and possibly, up to 25 or possibly even 26 this time, because one also is looking at the fundamental perspectives, and one thinks that earnings growth will be very strong in the small and mid cap segments, and so definitely we believe that it's a time to actually look at it. In fact, we even have come out with a fund which is specifically catered to that, because we think that this is a place to go, and but you have to be a little cautious about how you go and invest in say mid and small cap companies.
Right, exercise a little bit of caution, but what is the approach one should take when investing in some of these mid-cap stocks? Would you advise a bottom-up approach now, or should it be a top-down approach?
Yeah, so what we like to do is we like to have a bottoms-up approach, but we also like to look at it from a risk management, in a top-down. Right, so because just looking at are you going overboard on certain sectors, at times when you just look at a bottoms up, you may be very skewed to a sector, etc. So from a risk management perspective, maybe looking at a top down is good, but broadly from a bottoms up, what we like to look at is, can you try and identify say multi-baggers, right? So especially if you are in the mid and small cap space, and that's where you're looking to make your money, and we think that it's good. So then that is, I think, what the ideal objective should be. And a combination of looking at fundamentals, various factors, multiple, right, from return on capital employed, the growth in profits, etc. And if somebody can do a deep dive and also look at projections, evaluations, etc. I think that's important. But the second part of it is, how do you also see that you're not going overboard on valuations? Because the issue is with mid and small caps, if it falls, they can fall very large. So one way to do it is to maybe look at what is the sector, say, average multiple, and can you get stocks which are lower than that? So broadly, if you're able to identify a stock early, you may find a combination of both growth in share price because of earnings, but also growth in share price because of a re-rating and valuation multiples improving.
Right, so let's talk about some of the themes that one should look at the current juncture. Would you say mid-cap IT warrants a look, given the fact that it has, the entire pocket has kind of outperformed larger peers? And what about mid-cap banks? Should one look at this sector as well when it comes to some of the themes to watch out for in the mid-cap space?
Yeah, so I think that theme is going to be slightly broader based. Of course, on the IT side, I may just keep it as a whole, don't go overboard on it. Okay, is what our view is. Okay, but yes, on small banks, definitely there is something that one can sort of look at. And you also have stuff which is slightly broader based. You may even have sort of NBFCs and within the financial side. So one can look at mid caps which have a very, very strong earnings profile, but also look at it from especially when you're looking at banks, what are the NPAs? Is there a direction which is deteriorating? Hopefully, most of them today are stable and probably improving. But that is something that's to watch out for, that you don't get into one of these financial institutions where things are deteriorating on the non-performing assets.
Right. Any particular mid cap that you're spotting as that could emerge as a multi-bagger going forward, Anil? Anything
I like
from
to
any space like defense, railways, anything?
Yeah. So I like to avoid giving a stock related advice, but maybe on a sector level, yes. I think we're looking opportunities right from smaller financial institutions. We are also looking at I think some of the defense side also is somewhere where you may get certain opportunities. The PSUs, some of them are a bit undervalued and just coming out after a very long term, right? So some of those are there. We also like building materials. Okay, so where you're able to find stocks which are emerging leaders, again, that's possibly a place to be.